from the womb, from warmth and nourishing safety, to an involuntary, crushing expulsion. The plates of your skull literally separated and crushed, reshaping your brain. Bloody sexual trauma. Your mother's screams and your father's horror, and then the miracle of birth. We have a beautiful, innocent baby. A new archetype of appetite and childish dependence. Franco Barbi. A gangster and murderer. A trafficker. Franco is a man-child who would use heroin to infantilize the world. His psyche centered around a totem. A powerful symbol to compensate for painful deficiencies.
You're talking about the gun.
Yes.
That seems unreasonably dangerous.
Well, of course we didn't give him live ammunition. But he, may have made some himself.
How? Out of what?
I believe. Baby may be teething.
Hello, my name is Agent Nikki Kendo with Horrific Encounters. In today's debriefing, we'll be discussing Subject 003, Franco Il Bambino Barbi, the infantilized monster of Louisiana, now prime asset of the Murkoff Corporation in the Outlast Trials. Franco Barbi was born to Louisiana Mafia Don and an unnamed woman. According to him, he never knew his birth mother and instead grew up with his father's numerous wives. He committed his first murder at the age of 12 and would later become a debt collector and hitman for the crime syndicate. He would become problematic for the mafia due to his total disregard for human life, especially to those he attempted to engage in sexual activities with. Due to his impotence, he would frequently murder his sexual partners for psychosexual reasons. Franco would eventually be sent to Miami, supposedly for mafia business, but the real reason was far more complicated. At some point, Franco engaged in a sexual relationship with his stepmother, Angelina Barbi, as her degradation brought him sexual pleasure. Franco's father found out about their affair and severely beat him before exiling him, his life spared due to their blood relation. Franco would eventually move his operations to Cuba and briefly become involved in CIA operations. He participated in numerous raids against revolutionary forces. However, he would once again begin to indiscriminately murder, just as he did in New Orleans, seemingly for no benefit to the CIA, leading to his expulsion from operations. Franco would eventually catch the attention of Murkoff after he witnessed a reagent commit an assassination. Seemingly inspired by the kill, he would go on to murder 7 people, leading to Murkoff dispatch Clyde Perry to investigate. Perry would later track down Franco to a hotel where he was meeting a prostitute. Perry was alerted by the hotel clerk that there was an incident in one of the rooms. Upon investigation, he found a dead prostitute along with Franco's possession, including his shotgun, Lupara. When Perry attempted to investigate, Franco emerged from the dead prostitute's chest cavity. Clyde Perry was nearly beaten to death and sent to Texas for leg reconstruction and skull surgery. Franco Barbi was later captured and sent to the Sinyala facility. Franco Barbi is a monster of a man. He has an enlarged head. Barbi's facial features and enlarged skull are reminiscent of those seen in people born with Pfeiffer syndrome type 1. The deformation of his skull and face are the result of both a birth defect and frequent physical abuse from his father. Franco wears a pinstripe suit, a purple button-down shirt that to me seems to be a form of silk, and a blue bow tie with a dangling pacifier wrapped around his neck. Draped across his body is a brown leather bandolier with 20-gauge shotgun shells packed with powder and the teeth of reagents from the trials to make live rounds of buckshot. His signature weapon is that of his super sawed-off shotgun called his Lupara that he got from his father, and it's an heirloom from the old country. Now, in the real world, a lupara was a shotgun used mainly by farmers for hunting wolves in Sicily, and got more popular as a term due to the novel The Godfather. Franco is a very stereotypical mobster archetype from various forms of media and yells obscene threats towards his victims in the trial. Franco is also extremely sexually deprived in nature and takes pleasure in murdering out of arousal, killing one of the female giants and engaging in necrophilia with her corpse. In his partnering update comic, it's seen that Franco once inserted himself within a dead prostitute's body and quote-unquote birthed himself out of her once he was interrupted by Clyde Perry. He frequently expresses his fetish with a twisted sense of humor, sardonically and sadistically threatening reagents while referring to himself as a little baby and using childish expressions such as caught with your hand in the cookie jar. His compulsively infantile behavior causes him to bawl like a baby when he is frustrated, although he is embarrassed by this habit of crying and defensively claims, "That's just water for my eyes." This defense action is likely to protect his fragile ego. His aggressive and explosive nature reflect a deep-seated insecurity stemming from his abusive childhood and his feelings of sexual inadequacy. As a result, he views reagents as interlopers who threaten both his territory and his ego, and he is determined to hunt, punish, and kill them using blunt force and homemade buckshot from his shotgun. Franco does appear to possess a level of intelligence and craftsmanship, being able to produce his own ammunition within the trial environments, as well as having instincts not dissimilar to a hunter. Within the introduction of Franco Barbi within the Outlast Trials, we also got a new setting for the trials to play with, that being the docks. The docks are various trial locations that all have objectives that have to do with drug production and smuggling, just like Franco probably had to do on the outside, working with the mob in Louisiana and Miami. The only one that seems to actually be on docks is the trial deemed Empty the Vault that is set in a casino setting. The ship seen in the docks is called the Angelina, named by Dr. Easterman after Franco's stepmother, who he had an affair with behind his father's back. So here's the question at hand here at Horrific Encounters. Is Franco Barbi from the Outlast Trials a slasher at all? In short terms, no. Franco is not a slasher. Now, I've never seen a mobster-inspired and themed slasher, but one could work if done right. Franco is not a good archetype for a slasher, though. He couldn't fit in a whole movie plot as a killer, unlike other Outlast villains like Chris Walker or Eddie Gluskin. He is a great video game villain, though. He has so much personality, and his voice lines show so much of who he is as a character. He's a man-baby with a strained ego interrupted by his deep need and want to be treated like a child. Could Franco be in other games? Franco Barbi is a perfect character for the universe of Outlast, but are there any other games where Franco would appear and still make sense? Now, one criteria for this is the time in which a game takes place. So the 1950s and 60s is where it needs to take place or be inspired by that time in American history. An honorable mention would be that of Fallout. A baby man mobster would be a very interesting side quest villain for the Boston Commonwealth of Fallout 4, and his shotgun Lupara would be a great legendary weapon to loot off his corpse. Here are the two games that I feel he could fit right into. The first game that comes to mind is that of Mafia 3. Set in 1968, I could see the protagonist of Mafia 3, Lincoln Clay, have a side mission to hunt down the son of a mafia don who's been on a murderous rampage across the New Bordeaux, Louisiana. And then, Franco seems like he would also be right at home under the sea in the city of Rapture from BioShock. Hell, he already looks like a splicer, and he's never even touched Adam before. I don't think he would be any big character, but a series of audio logs of him ranting about his lusts and such would be pretty nice to hear around the game. And also, could Franco be in Dead by Daylight? No, next segment. So, here at the end of our review, we have come to the ranking. Franco Il Bambino Barbi sits at a solid 5 out of 10 on the horror scale for me. For the Outlast universe, he is such an amazing character, but in the wide scope of horror, I don't feel like he can line up with other horror villains. His design is absolutely amazing, his voice lines help fully fledge out his character, but he's simply a one-note joke to me, a man-baby mobster who is a sexual deviant. He does not have enough personality to be the main villain of anything, I believe, but for the Outlast Trials, he's amazing, which is why for the Outlast Trials, I'll give him a secondary ranking of 8 out of 10. For the Outlast universe villains, he is one of my favorites. Oh, well, I can see the administrator tapping on the glass ahead of me. I do believe I've come to the end of my runtime for this debriefing. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Agent Nicky Kendo with Horrific Encounters, signing off. And goodbye.